They laughed before I even moved. Soccer, basketball, dodgeball, I was always picked last. "Don't pass her the ball, she'll slow us down," someone yelled during PE. The class laughed. My chest cracked under every echo. I remember every face, the popular kids who mocked me, the quiet ones who looked away. Coach Peterson checking his watch like my humiliation was just another delay. That day I learned, pain doesn't disappear. It transforms, sometimes into silence, sometimes into fire. Those same kids would one day stand in a gym full of championship banners, clapping for the girl they once mocked. They'd ask how I became a national swimmer at 16, how I made Olympic trials. But I wouldn't tell them about medals. I'd tell them about the pool. The pool was the only place where gravity couldn't reach me, where my body stopped being too heavy and started being mine. The world called me slow, but water taught me. Sometimes going deep is faster than running away. I didn't start swimming to win. I started to stop drowning in shame. Now when I dive, I still hear their voices, but they don't sting anymore. They echo, like applause. Back then, I was just the fat girl who tried too hard. 10 years old, invisible except when someone needed a punchline. My world was whispers. Cafeteria tables with no seat saved, locker rooms where I changed facing the wall, mirrors I learned to avoid. One afternoon, Coach said, 4 laps around the track. By the second lap, I was alone. They'd finished, sitting in the bleachers. I was still moving, slow, heavy, breathless. "You look like you're drowning on dry land," someone yelled. The laughter followed me like an echo I couldn't escape. I went home and cried in the shower, the only place where no one could tell if it was water or tears. My mom was waiting, sitting on my bed with that look mothers get when something's broken. She didn't ask what happened, just handed me a towel and said, "If you can't run, maybe you should try swimming." "Mom, I'll just sink." "Everyone sinks at first," she said softly. "The trick is learning to come back up." That single sentence changed everything. 3 days later, we drove to the local YMCA. The building smelled like chlorine and decades of determination. My hands were shaking. Not from cold, from fear I'd fail at this too. The pool smelled like chlorine and second chances. I stood at the edge, toes gripping the wet concrete, heart pounding harder than any laugh I'd ever heard. The YMCA pool wasn't like the ones you see in movies. No Olympic rings, no fancy starting blocks. Just 8 lanes of blue-green water and walls covered in faded motivational posters about perseverance. The other kids in the beginner class dove in easily, like they belonged there, like water was their second language. I hesitated, terrified I'd sink, but even more terrified I'd stay the same. "Just try," the instructor said. His name was Coach Mike, an older man with silver hair and kind eyes that had probably seen 1,000 scared kids at this edge. His voice was calm, not pitying, and that difference mattered. For once, no one was watching me to fail. No one had their phone out waiting to capture my humiliation. I closed my eyes and jumped. The shock of the cold hit me like truth. The world went silent, heavy and blue. Everything above the surface, the laughter, the whispers, the weight of expectations, all of it muted instantly. I kicked, once, twice, clumsy, desperate, my arms flailing without rhythm. Water went up my nose, burned my sinuses. But then something happened. My body floated. For the first time in my life, I wasn't being pulled down by gravity or shame or the weight of other people's opinions. I was being held. The water didn't judge, didn't mock, didn't measure. It accepted my shape without asking me to shrink, to apologize, to take up less space. I remember looking up through the surface, the sunlight breaking into fragments through the ripples, like laughter turning into light. I wasn't fast, I wasn't graceful, but I was free. When I came out of the pool, gasping and awkward, I was smiling. Not because I was good at it, but because I had found a place where failure didn't hurt, where trying was enough. Coach Mike handed me a towel. "Not bad for day one," he said. "Most kids panic. You just kept moving." I didn't know what else to do, I admitted. "That's the secret," he smiled. "When you don't know what to do, keep moving. The water will figure out the rest." That night, I told my mom, "I want to come back." She nodded like she already knew. Maybe she'd been waiting for me to find a world that could hold me without breaking me. The next morning, my arms ached in places I didn't know had muscles. My lungs burned with the memory of chlorine. But inside that pain, I felt something I'd never felt before. Pride. Not the kind that comes from being the best or winning a trophy. The kind that comes from not quitting when everything in you wants to stop. I didn't realize it then, but every stroke I learned from that day forward wasn't against water. It was against the weight of their words, the gravity of their judgment. And slowly, lap after lap, I started winning. Swimming became my secret language. While others talked in the cafeteria about TikTok trends and weekend plans, I listened to the rhythm of my breath against the echo of the pool. In the water, sound traveled differently. Softer, honest, without the sharp edges that words had in the hallways. Each splash was a sentence I could control. Each breath was a period at the end of pain. At school, the laughter continued. The nickname Whale followed me through 7th grade like a shadow I couldn't shake. But each insult lost its power the moment I remembered the silence waiting for me underwater. I trained after school 3 days a week, then 4, then 5. Long after the soccer teams had gone home, after the parking lot had emptied, I was still there, cutting through lanes, counting laps, building something they couldn't see. Coach Mike said I was stubborn. He didn't understand that stubbornness was survival. I wasn't swimming to win competitions. I was swimming to stay alive, to have one place in my life where I felt like I mattered. There was another girl on the swim team. Her name was Brittany Chen. Thin, fast, everything I wasn't. She had that natural grace some people are just born with, like she'd been swimming since before she could walk. At first, I avoided her. Comparison was a trap I'd fallen into too many times. But one day after practice, she waited for me by the locker room. "You're getting faster," she said, not as a competition, but as observation. "Your form is better too." I didn't know how to respond to kindness that didn't feel like pity. "Thanks," I mumbled, wrapping my towel tighter. "Keep it up," she said. "Most people quit when it gets hard. You don't." That interaction lasted maybe 30 seconds, but I replayed it for weeks. Because it was the first time someone at school acknowledged my effort without making a joke about my body. The water became a mirror that told the truth kindly. It didn't reflect my body. It reflected my effort, my persistence, my refusal to disappear. It didn't care what I looked like getting there, only that I kept trying, kept showing up, kept pushing through the burn. I learned to count breaths, to feel time stretch between strokes. With every lap, the echoes of the locker room faded a little more, replaced by the rhythm of my own heartbeat. My classmates started to forget about me, and for once that felt good. Their absence was peace. Being invisible became a superpower instead of a punishment. I used to dream of disappearing. Swimming gave me a way to do it without dying, without erasing myself. I could vanish into the blue and emerge stronger. The chlorine burned my skin, dried out my hair, turned my eyes permanently red. But it healed something deeper. The invisible bruises left by jokes and pointed fingers and Instagram comments. At night, I would lie awake replaying every moment in the water, feeling weightless even in my bed, even when gravity pulled at my body again. I wasn't ready to forgive them yet. but I was learning to forgive myself for believing them, for letting their words become my inner voice. The pool taught me a new language, one syllable at a time, one breath at a time. And slowly, I was learning to speak it fluently. I used to think words disappeared once people stopped saying them. They don't. They stick to your skin, your thoughts, your reflection like post-it notes you can't peel off. Fat. Slow. Hopeless. Whale. Waste of space. They became weights I carried long after gym class ended, long after the school year was over. There was this one girl, Madison Parker. She wasn't the meanest, but she was the most creative with her cruelty. She once photoshopped my yearbook picture onto a manatee and posted it with the caption, "Separated at birth." It got 147 likes before the school made her take it down. I still remember that number. 147 people thought my humiliation was funny enough to double tap. I cried in the bathroom for an hour that day. My mom found the post before I could hide it. She held me while I sobbed, and then she said something I didn't understand until much later. Their words tell you nothing about who you are, only who they are. But something strange happened. The heavier the words, the stronger I became. Every cruel syllable turned into another reason to move, to prove that I was more than their punchline. When I swam, I imagined them tied to my ankles, all the names, the laughter, the screenshots that got passed around. And with every kick, I lifted them, breaking the surface with a force they could never understand. My times started dropping, not by seconds, by chunks. Coach Mike noticed before I did. "You're getting faster," he said, checking his stopwatch with surprise. What changed? I shrugged, not ready to explain. I'm getting louder, I thought, not in voice, in proof. In the pool, there was no audience except the pace clock on the wall, no applause except the splash of water against tile. Just the echo of my own breath, reminding me that strength doesn't ask permission to exist. Outside, they still whispered when I walked past their lunch table. Madison still smirked when she saw me in the halls. But inside, I was building something they couldn't touch. Discipline, resilience, and a quiet kind of rage that no longer hurt. It guided. Some days, I'd look in the mirror and repeat their words out loud, just to feel how little power they had left. Fat, slow, ugly. They used to bruise like punches. Now they burned into fuel. I started writing them down too. Every insult, every comment, every time someone made me feel small. I kept a notebook in my locker, filled with their cruelty in blue ink. Coach Mike found it one day when my locker jammed. "What's this?" he asked. "Motivation," I said simply. He flipped through a few pages, his face darkening with each entry. "This is what you're carrying?" "Not anymore," I said. "Now I'm using it." He closed the notebook and handed it back. "You're training for more than swimming," he said quietly. "You're training for survival." I nodded, because he was right. I didn't realize it yet, but I was training for more than a race. I was training for a reckoning, the kind that happens not in a pool, but in a life, the kind that changes everything, and I was finally learning how to win both. My first swim meet was chaos. The regional YMCA championship drew teams from 6 counties, and the natatorium was packed with parents holding signs, coaches yelling instructions, and the overwhelming smell of adrenaline mixed with chlorine. My hands trembled as I adjusted my goggles for the 3rd time. The elastic kept slipping. I wasn't nervous about losing. I was terrified of freezing, of remembering their laughter mid-lap and forgetting how to move. My mom sat in the bleachers with her phone ready to record, wearing a homemade t-shirt that said "Swim Mom" in iron-on letters. She waved when she caught my eye, and I managed a weak smile. My lane felt like a stage under spotlight. The crowd noise faded into a low hum. All I could hear was my heartbeat pounding in my ears and the faint splash of water from the swimmer in the next lane warming up. I was in lane 6, the slower lanes. Lane 4 had Brittany Chen, already a regional champion. Lanes 1 and 2 had girls with club team swim caps and bodies that looked like they'd been designed for speed. Heat 3, 200-meter freestyle, take your mark. The announcer's words hit like thunder through the speakers. I stepped onto the starting block, my feet gripping the textured surface. The whistle sounded sharp and final. I dove. The cold swallowed me whole, but it didn't scare me anymore. It felt like home, like the only place that had ever held me gently without asking me to change first. The first 50 meters were pure instinct. Arms reaching, legs kicking, breath timed to the rotation. I'd practiced this 10,000 times, but nothing prepared me for doing it while the whole world watched. Halfway through, I could feel my lungs screaming for air. My arms ached with lactic acid building. The girl in lane 5 was pulling ahead. For a second, I almost stopped. Almost gave in to the voice that said, "See, you don't belong here." Then I remembered every voice that had told me I couldn't. Madison's photoshopped manatee, the laughter in gym class, "Don't pass her the ball," echoing in my memory. And I kicked harder. The pain became fuel. Each stroke was defiance. Each breath was proof. I wasn't just swimming against other competitors. I was swimming against every assumption, every joke, every time someone made me feel less than. The wall appeared faster than I expected. When my hand hit it, the world came rushing back in a roar of noise. Whistles, cheers, the electronic beep of the timing system. I looked up at the scoreboard, water streaming down my face. Lane 4, Brittany, first place. Lane 2, some girl from a club team, second. Lane 6, me. Third place, third, out of 8 swimmers. Not last. Not a joke. Third, I didn't win that day. But for the first time in my life, no one laughed. The parents in the stands clapped for all of us. My mom was crying happy tears. Coach Mike was grinning like I'd just won Olympic gold. When I climbed out of the pool, legs shaking, Brittany was waiting. "Nice race," she said, and I could tell she meant it. "You dropped 5 seconds from your practice time." Did I? I hadn't even noticed. My coach smiled and said, "You didn't swim like a beginner. You swam like someone who had something to prove." I nodded, water dripping down my face like truth. "I do," I said. That bronze medal, my first ever, hung around my neck on a red, white, and blue ribbon. It was plastic, probably cost $3 to make. But it weighed more than gold in that moment. Because it wasn't about the medal. It was about the girl who'd been too afraid to jump into the pool 6 months ago. The girl who thought her body would betray her. That girl had just finished third in a regional competition. I wasn't swimming against them anymore. I was swimming for me. After the race, I went to the locker room. My reflection stared back at me from the long mirror above the sinks, hair dripping wet and plastered to my head, goggles still pressed into red circles around my eyes. I didn't look like the girls who won gold. I didn't look like the Instagram fitness influencers or the magazine covers. I looked like someone who had survived a storm, and maybe that was better. My shoulders were broader than they used to be. Months of swimming had built muscle I didn't know existed. My thighs were thick but powerful. My arms had definition. I leaned closer to the mirror. My cheeks were flushed red from exertion, my body trembling with exhaustion. But my eyes, they were steady, strong. For the first time, I didn't wish to look different. I just wanted to remember that face. This body, this heavy, criticized, mocked body, had just swum 200 meters faster than dozens of other swimmers. This body was capable of things I'd never dreamed. The mirror, once my enemy, now held something else, Not perfection, but proof. Proof that I had done what they said I couldn't, that I had built something inside that no laughter could break. I thought about all the times I'd hidden from mirrors, afraid of what they might reflect, changing in bathroom stalls at school, avoiding my reflection in store windows, the way I'd angle my body in group photos to take up less space. Now I realized it wasn't my body I'd feared. It was the story behind it. The narrative that my body was wrong, was failure, was something to apologize for. But this body had carried me through pain, had pushed through water when my mind wanted to quit, had refused to sink even when I thought it would. I smiled at my reflection, softly, almost shyly. "We did it," I whispered to the girl in the glass. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. The silence between us was agreement. Behind me, I heard other girls from different teams come in, chattering about their races. 2 of them were complaining about their times, picking apart every mistake. "I looked so fat in my race video," one said, pulling at her flat stomach. She couldn't have weighed more than 110 pounds. I wanted to tell her that fat wasn't the worst thing you could be. That slow wasn't failure. That your body being different than magazine models didn't mean it was broken. But I didn't. Some lessons you have to learn yourself, in your own pool, in your own time. The locker room emptied out, but I stayed, memorizing every inch of that moment, the smell of chlorine and victory, the weight of the metal, the way my reflection finally looked like someone I could respect. Because one day I knew I'd need to remind myself I was already enough before anyone noticed. Before any medal, before any time drop, before any applause. That day, I stopped waiting for approval from people who would never give it. I'd found something better. I'd found myself. And she was worth every lap, every bruise, every breath, every tear cried in bathroom stalls. Monday morning came too fast. I walked into Lincoln Middle School with my bronze medal in my backpack, hidden in the front pocket where no one could see it. I wasn't ready to show it off. Part of me worried they'd find a way to make fun of it. 3rd place? So you lost? Or it's just a YMCA meet, doesn't count. But something had changed. Or maybe I had. When I walked through the halls, I didn't automatically shrink anymore. Didn't pull my shoulders in to take up less space. The cafeteria was its usual chaos. Tables divided by invisible social borders, the popular kids holding court by the windows, the band kids clustered in the corner, the athletes loud and sprawling in the middle. I usually sat alone at the edge table near the trash cans. Not today. I walked to a table in the middle section and sat down. Not at the popular table. I wasn't delusional, but not hiding either. Just existing in the space without apologizing for it. The conversations around me didn't stop. No one pointed. But I felt eyes on me. Curiosity mixed with surprise. Halfway through lunch, Madison Parker walked past my table with her usual crew. Our eyes met for a split second. She looked away first. That tiny moment, her looking away, felt like winning a race I didn't know I was running. "Hey!" The voice startled me. A girl from my English class, Emma Rodriguez, stood there holding her lunch tray. "Can I sit here?" I blinked, confused. "Yeah, sure." She sat down and started eating her sandwich like this was normal, like sitting with me wasn't social suicide. "I heard you came in 3rd at the swim meet," she said casually. "That's pretty cool. How did you hear about that?" "Brittany Chen posted about it. She said you dropped like 5 seconds off your time." I pulled out my phone and checked Instagram. There it was. Brittany had posted a team photo from the meet, and I was in it. She'd tagged me and written, "Shout out to a swim girl for crushing her PR today. Keep grinding." 23 likes already. No mean comments, just encouragement. "Thanks," I said to Emma, not quite sure what else to say. I tried swim team last year, she said. Quit after 2 weeks, that shit is hard. I laughed, actually laughed, surprised by her honesty. Yeah, it really is. We didn't become best friends that day, but we ate lunch together, and the next day she saved me a seat. And slowly, the invisible table near the trash cans stopped being my default. That week, I told Coach Mike about the medal. He made me bring it to practice and show the team. This, he said, holding it up for everyone to see, is what happens when you show up. Not every day is going to feel good. Not every practice will be your best, but you show up anyway. The team clapped. Brittany gave me a fist bump. And for the first time, I felt like I was part of something instead of just surviving on the edges of it. On Friday, something happened that I never expected. During gym class, we were picking teams for basketball. I was standing in my usual spot, last, waiting to be the leftover. But then Jake Morrison, one of the better athletes, pointed at me. I'll take her. I stared. Me? Yeah, you. Swimmers have stamina. Come on. It wasn't a friendship. It wasn't an apology for years of being picked last, but it was acknowledgement. I existed as more than a punchline. I played terribly, still can't shoot a basketball to save my life. But I ran the court. I kept up. And when the game ended, Jake said, "Good hustle." 2 words, but they mattered. Because the ghosts of the cafeteria, the locker room, the gym class, they were still there. But they were fading, losing their power word by word, moment by moment. I was writing a new story, 1 lap at a time. The second race came 2 months later. Regional championships. Bigger pool, brighter lights, college scouts in the stands watching the older swimmers. This time, my name was printed on the heat sheet. Lane 4, right in the middle, the faster lanes. Coach Mike had moved me up based on my improved times. My mom brought my dad this time. He'd been deployed overseas for most of the year, missed my first competition. But he was home now, sitting next to her in the bleachers wearing civilian clothes and a nervous smile. When the buzzer went off, I didn't dive for a medal. I dove for every version of me that had ever been left behind, forgotten in the last picked pile. For the girl who cried in locker rooms, who believed she'd never be fast enough, good enough, light enough. The water swallowed me like a promise I made to myself months ago. Every stroke felt cleaner, sharper, freer. I didn't feel heavy. I felt unstoppable. I could see Brittany in lane 3, her form perfect as always. But I wasn't chasing her. I was chasing my own potential, my own ghost. At the 100-meter mark, my lungs burned. My shoulders screamed. But I'd learned that pain is just information. It tells you you're alive, you're pushing, you're growing. The final 50 meters blurred. All technique, all training, all those hours in the pool when I was the only one there. This moment was built from hundreds of moments no one saw. When I touched the wall, I heard screaming. Not the mocking kind, the celebrating kind. I looked up at the scoreboard, water streaming into my eyes. Lane 4, my name, first place. I had won. The time didn't even register at first. I just kept staring at the number 1 next to my name like it might disappear if I blinked. Brittany swam over from lane 3. She'd gotten second. "Holy shit," she said, laughing with genuine happiness. "You beat me." "I beat you," I repeated, stunned. "You earned it. That was a perfect race." My coach was crying, actual tears running down his face. My dad was on his feet in the bleachers, hands cupped around his mouth, shouting my name. My mom had her phone up, but her hands were shaking too much to record steady footage. They hung the medal around my neck during the ceremony. Gold. Real gold. Well, gold-plated, but still. The ribbon was still wet from someone else's race, dripping cold water down my back. The cameras flashed. The announcer called my name and my time over the speakers. But I wasn't looking at them. I was looking at my reflection in the pool water. The surface shimmered, bending my face into light and shadow. The girl looking back at me wasn't the same one who jumped into the YMCA pool scared and desperate 8 months ago. I didn't cry. I didn't laugh. I just breathed. Because for the first time, I wasn't chasing something impossible. I was arriving at something real. That metal could rust, could fade, could be lost in a move or forgotten in a drawer 20 years from now. But what I had found beneath the water, that couldn't be taken. It wasn't gold that mattered. It was gravity, finally losing its hold on me. The weight of their words, their judgment, their laughter, none of it could pull me under anymore. I didn't win because I was the fastest swimmer in the pool that day. I won because I stopped trying to escape myself and started building myself. And that, I realized as I stepped off the podium with that medal swinging against my chest, was the real finish line. The invitation came in a formal email with the school district logo at the top. Subject line, Speaker Request for Character Education Assembly. Dear name, Lincoln Middle School would be honored if you would consider speaking at our annual Character Counts Assembly this spring. We've been following your swimming achievements and believe your story would inspire our current students. I read it 3 times, then laughed. The kind of laugh that feels like exhaling an old ghost you didn't know you were still carrying. It had been 3 years since I'd walked those hallways. 3 years since Madison's manatee post. 3 years since I was the punchline instead of the person. Now I was 16, a junior in high school, ranked top 10 in the state for my age group, training for Olympic trials. And they wanted me back, not as the fat girl who couldn't run a lap, but as inspiration. My mom asked, "Are you going to do it?" I thought about saying no. Thought about how easy it would be to just let that part of my life stay in the past where it belonged. But then I thought about Emma Rodriguez saving me a seat in the cafeteria, about Coach Mike seeing something in me before I could, about every girl still sitting at that table near the trash cans, waiting for permission to believe she matters. "Yeah," I said, "I'll do it." Not to prove anything to the people who hurt me, not to show off medals or times or college recruitment letters, but to close a circle that was still open inside me. Sometimes closure isn't revenge. It's peace walking back into the room where you used to cry and realizing the room never had the power. You always did. The day I returned, Lincoln Middle School looked smaller. The walls that used to feel like a maze designed to trap me now just looked like walls. Standard beige, covered in student artwork and motivational posters about growth mindset. Maybe they'd always been that way, and it was my pain that made them into monsters. I walked down the main hallway toward the gym, passing my old locker. Number 127. Someone had drawn on it in Sharpie, a badly drawn skateboard, and the initials JP plus MC. I touched the metal door briefly. Behind it, the girl I used to be was still hiding, still hurting, still believing she'd never be enough. "I came back for you," I whispered to her. "Watch this." When I reached the gym, the sound hit me first. Hundreds of middle schoolers talking at once, the squeak of shoes on the glossy floor, teachers trying to maintain order. The bleachers were packed. 7th and 8th graders filled every row, some scrolling on phones they weren't supposed to have, others tossing wadded paper at friends, most just waiting for this assembly to be over so they could go to lunch. On the far side, I recognized a few faces, teachers who were still here. Mr. Peterson, the gym teacher, now with more gray in his hair. Ms. Liu, the English teacher who once let me eat lunch in her classroom when the cafeteria felt too heavy. And students. Madison Parker was there, now in 8th grade. She looked different, older, less sure of herself. When our eyes met across the gym, she didn't smirk. She looked uncomfortable, like she wanted to disappear. The irony wasn't lost on me. I walked to the center of the gym floor where a microphone stand waited. The principal, Dr. Harrison, was introducing me, her voice echoing through the speakers. Remarkable achievement, perseverance, proud to welcome back one of our former students. My hands weren't shaking, my heart was steady. I realized then, fear doesn't vanish when you grow stronger. It just learns where to stand, behind you instead of in front of you. The microphone crackled as I adjusted it to my height. For a moment, I let the gym fall into silence. Let them wonder what I was going to say. Then I smiled, not at them, but at the girl I used to be, sitting invisibly in the corner of every room. This time, I whispered under my breath, we're both walking out together. Hi, I began. My voice came out steady, clear. Some of you might not remember me, but I remember this place, the smell of the gym, the sound of squeaking sneakers, the echo of laughter that wasn't always kind. A few students shifted in their seats. The phones disappeared into pockets. When I was in 7th grade, I used to stand right there. I pointed to the free throw line on the basketball court. I was always the last one picked for teams. Too slow, too heavy, too different. I thought that meant I didn't belong anywhere. The gym grew quiet. Not the forced quiet of students being told to shut up, but the real kind, the kind that listens. I believed what people said about me, that my body was wrong, that I was taking up too much space, that I should be smaller, quieter, less visible. I saw a girl in the 2nd row, 7th grade probably, with hunched shoulders and a hoodie pulled tight. She was staring at her shoes, but I could tell she was listening. I knew that posture. I'd lived in it. But then I found water, I continued. And in the water, I wasn't too slow. I wasn't too heavy. I was weightless. Swimming taught me that every insult someone throws at you sinks fast, but it also teaches you how to rise. The girl in the hoodie looked up. Our eyes met for a second. People ask how I became a national swimmer, how I made it to state championships, how I'm training for Olympic trials next year. They want the success story, the before and after, the inspirational transformation. I paused, letting that sink in. But I'll tell you the truth. It started with humiliation, with being laughed at, with crying in locker rooms and avoiding mirrors, with believing I was broken. Some of the students weren't smiling anymore. Good. This wasn't supposed to be comfortable. Pain is an invitation, I said, my voice stronger now. You can either drown in it or learn to breathe through it. You can let it define you, or you can use it to discover who you actually are underneath all the noise. I took a breath and looked around the gym, at the teachers who looked away when I was being mocked, at the students who might be the bullies in someone else's story, at the kids who were sitting alone hoping to be invisible. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that swimming fixed everything, that one pool can heal years of trauma. It didn't. I still have days where I hear those voices in my head, where I catch my reflection and for a split second I'm 12 years old again, believing I'm not enough. Madison was crying now. Quiet tears she kept wiping away, thinking no one noticed. But here's what I learned. You're not swimming against other people. You're swimming against the version of yourself that believes you can't. And every single time you get in that water, or on that court, or on that stage, or in that classroom, and you try anyway, you win. The girl in the hoodie was crying too. So were a few others scattered through the bleachers. Your body isn't the problem, I said, my voice cracking slightly for the first time. It never was. The problem is a world that makes you think you need to apologize for existing. that you need to shrink, hide, disappear to make other people comfortable. I looked directly at the girl in the hoodie now. To anyone here who feels invisible, who sits alone at lunch, who changes in the bathroom stall because the locker room feels like a war zone, I see you. I was you. And I'm telling you, the water is waiting. Your water. Whatever that means for you. Find the place where you can move without shame, where your body is an instrument, not an apology, where breathing doesn't feel like asking for permission. The silence in the gym was complete now. Even the teachers were still. I didn't come back here to inspire you, I said finally. I came back to tell you the truth. It's going to hurt. Life is going to be unfair. People are going to be cruel, sometimes on purpose, sometimes without even knowing. But you get to decide what you do with that pain. You get to decide if it buries you or builds you. I stepped back from the microphone. For a second, nothing happened. Then someone started clapping, then another. Then the whole gym erupted. Not the polite golf clap of a required assembly, but real applause. The kind that comes from recognition, from seeing yourself in someone else's story. The girl in the hoodie was standing now, clapping with tears streaming down her face. Teachers I didn't recognize were wiping their eyes. Even Mr. Peterson looked uncomfortable, probably remembering all the times he let the laughter go unchecked. As I walked toward the exit, students reached out to touch my hand, to say thank you, to ask questions. But one person was waiting at the gym doors. Madison. She started, then stopped. Her mascara was smudged from crying. I'm sorry, for everything. The photo, the comments, all of it. I was such a bitch. I could have said a lot of things. Could have told her exactly how much she hurt me. How many nights I cried because of her creativity with cruelty. Instead, I said, I know, but we were 12, and you're here now, which means you're trying to be better. That's what matters. She nodded, still crying. You're really brave. No, I said. I'm just tired of being afraid. There's a difference. I walked out of Lincoln Middle School for the second time in my life. The first time, I left broken. This time, I left whole. The hallways didn't feel smaller because they'd shrunk. They felt smaller because I'd grown. That night, after the speech, I went back to the YMCA pool. Not for training, not for times or technique. Just to be there, in the place where I learned I could survive. The building was almost empty. Late-night lap swim, just a few dedicated swimmers and me. The overhead lights reflected off the still water like stars on a dark lake. I didn't bother with the locker room, just kicked off my shoes at the edge and dipped my toes in. The water was cold, familiar, honest. The same temperature that once terrified me now felt like coming home. I slid in slowly, still wearing my jeans and t-shirt. Didn't care. This wasn't about swimming. It was about remembering. The water held me like it always had. No judgment, no expectation, just steady pressure keeping me afloat. I closed my eyes and let myself drift. I thought about the girl who jumped in this pool 3 years ago, terrified she would sink. The girl who believed her body was a burden too heavy for the world to carry. I wanted to tell her, you make it. Not because you get thin or fast or perfect. You make it because you learn that taking up space isn't something to apologize for. I floated on my back, eyes open now, staring at the ceiling tiles I'd memorized during countless practices. Water filled my ears, muffling the world above the surface. This pool had seen me at my worst, crying underwater where no one could tell tears from chlorine, angry and desperate and so tired of fighting just to exist. It had also seen me at my best, breaking personal records, winning races, discovering that my body could do extraordinary things when I stopped asking it to be ordinary. Coach Mike appeared at the edge of the pool. He didn't say anything, just sat down on the deck and watched me float. After a while, he spoke. Good speech today. The school sent me the video. Thanks for making me do this, I said to the ceiling. The swimming, all of it. I didn't make you do anything, he said. I just gave you permission to try. You did the rest. I swam to the edge and held onto the wall. You know what the weirdest part is? I don't even hate them anymore. The kids who were cruel, I'm grateful. Grateful? He raised an eyebrow. Yeah, because they made me find this place, this feeling. If everything had been easy, I never would have learned that I'm capable of surviving hard things. He nodded slowly. That's the difference between people who break and people who bend. The ones who bend learn to be grateful for the pressure. It's what made them flexible. I pushed off the wall and swam one lap. Slow, easy, no racing. Just moving through water because I could, because this body that they said was wrong had carried me through everything. When I finished, I climbed out and sat next to Coach Mike, dripping water onto the warm deck. You know I'm aging out of youth competitions next year, I said. Olympic trials are my last shot at that level. I know. And after that, I don't know what comes next. Maybe I don't make the team. Maybe swimming stops being the answer. He smiled. Swimming was never the answer. It was just the place where you learn to ask better questions. Like, what am I capable of? What do I deserve? Who am I when no one's watching? I thought about that. He was right. The pool wasn't magic. It was just water. But what it taught me, that I could transform pain into power, that I could take up space without apology, that I could survive and even thrive in a world that didn't always want me, that was permanent. The water doesn't cure anything, I said quietly. It just gives you back what you thought you'd lost. And what did you lose? He asked. I smiled. Nothing. Turns out I never lost it. I just forgot where to look. I stayed until they closed the pool that night, the last one out, like always. But this time, I wasn't staying because I was afraid to leave. I was staying because I wanted to, because this space was mine, because I'd earned every lap, every breath, every moment of peace I'd found here. The water would always be here when I needed it. But I was learning I didn't need it as much anymore. I was learning to float in the world above the surface, too. People keep calling me inspirational. They share my competition videos on social media with captions about overcoming adversity. They ask me to speak at schools, at sports camps, at youth groups. And every time I want to tell them, I didn't overcome anything. I just stopped fighting the wrong battle. I learned that strength isn't born from winning. It's born from returning. From showing up to the pool every morning even when your body aches. From walking into the cafeteria even when you'd rather hide. From existing loudly in a world that prefers you quiet. Every morning I go back to the YMCA pool, sometimes to train, sometimes just to float. The water has become my meditation, my church, my reminder that I can carry weight without letting it sink me. I see younger girls watching from the bleachers during practice, their eyes full of the same hesitation I used to carry. The ones who haven't learned yet that their bodies aren't apologies. I wave at them. Sometimes they wave back. Sometimes they look away, not ready yet to believe they belong here too. But they'll get there. Or they won't. Either way, the water will wait. Last month, a girl approached me after practice. She couldn't have been more than 11, standing there in borrowed swim gear that didn't quite fit. Did you really get bullied? She asked bluntly. Yeah, I said, pretty badly. Did it stop? I thought about lying, giving her the Disney version where everything gets better and bullies learn their lesson and everyone lives happily ever after. Instead, I told her the truth. Not really. Some people still make comments. The internet is forever, so those old photos and posts are still out there. but it matters less now. Why? Because I stopped waiting for them to decide I was worthy. I decided for myself. She nodded, processing this. I'm scared I'll be too slow. You will be, I said. At first, everyone is. But slow is just how fast looks before practice. She smiled at that and jumped in the pool. Messy, scared, brave. I watched her struggle through her first lap, arms flailing, breathing panicked. She looked exactly like I did 3 years ago, and I knew she'd be fine. My medals hang on my bedroom wall, bronze, silver, gold, more than I can count now. State championships, regional titles, national rankings, letters from college swim programs offering scholarships. But the medal that matters isn't metal. It's invisible. It's the moment I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't flinch. The moment I walked into a room and didn't automatically calculate how much space I was taking up. People ask what drives me now, why I keep swimming when I've already made it. I swim for the girl who couldn't run a lap without being mocked, for the girl who cried in the shower, for the girl who believed her body was a punishment she deserved. I swim because that girl lives in every middle school cafeteria, every gym class, every comment section on the internet. And she needs to know, you can survive this. More than survive. You can become someone who uses that pain as fuel instead of letting it be your ending. My body isn't proof that I won some battle against bullying or obesity or whatever narrative people want to project. My body is proof that I stayed, that I kept showing up even when showing up felt impossible. I learned that weight isn't always about pounds. Sometimes it's about the heaviness of other people's opinions, the gravity of expectations you never agreed to carry. And I learned that the only way to put down that weight is to stop asking permission to exist. I don't need them to understand anymore. I don't need them to apologize or admit they were wrong or even acknowledge the damage they did. I just need to keep swimming, keep moving, keep proving to myself that I'm more than their small imaginations could ever contain. The pool taught me that going deep is its own kind of speed, that sometimes the fastest way forward is straight down into the thing that scares you most. For me, that was my own reflection, my own body, my own belief that I didn't deserve to take up space. I went deep into that fear, and when I came back up, I was different. Not lighter, not smaller, not better, just mine. Finally, completely, unapologetically mine. They used to measure me in pounds and seconds, in how much space I took up, how slow I moved, how far behind I always was. I used to measure myself the same way. Every mirror was a scale. Every reflection was evidence of failure. But water taught me a different mathematics. In the pool, weight becomes buoyancy. Resistance becomes strength. Depth becomes possibility. Every insult they threw at me sank to the bottom like stones, and I built a foundation from them. Something solid to push off from when I dove into becoming who I actually was. Madison's manatee meme is still out there somewhere, floating in the internet's infinite memory. I could be angry about that, could demand it be scrubbed from existence. But I don't, because that girl in the photo, the one they thought was worth mocking, she saved my life. Her pain drove me to the pool. Her shame became my strength. I wouldn't erase her if I could. People ask if I forgive them, the bullies, the bystanders, the teachers who looked away. I tell them forgiveness isn't a yes or no question. It's not a switch you flip. It's more like water. Sometimes it's still. Sometimes it's rough. Sometimes it just is. Some days I forgive easily. Other days the old anger surfaces, and I have to swim through it all over again. And that's okay. Healing isn't linear, it's laps. You go around and around, covering the same distance, but each time you're slightly faster, slightly stronger, slightly more sure. I used to dream of being light, weightless, of taking up no space at all. Now I dream of being heavy in all the right ways. heavy with purpose, with presence, with the knowledge that my existence doesn't need justification. The water held me when nothing else would. It taught me that sinking isn't failure. It's just what happens before you learn to kick. I'm not the same girl who jumped into the YMCA pool 3 years ago, terrified and desperate. But she's still here, swimming alongside me in every lap. And I'm grateful for her. For her courage in that moment when courage felt impossible. For her willingness to try even when trying had only ever ended in pain. She taught me that you don't have to be fearless to be brave. You just have to keep moving. So to everyone carrying weight they didn't ask for, the words, the looks, the casual cruelty that somehow never feels casual when you're on the receiving end. Find your water. Find the place where gravity loses its grip and you remember that you're more than the sum of other people's limitations. It might be a pool, it might be a stage, a canvas, a page, a court. It might be something no one else understands. But find it, and when you do, don't ask permission to be there. Just dive. This was my story. The story of a girl who learned to swim when the world wanted her to sink. Not all stories have perfect endings. Mine doesn't either. I still have hard days. Still hear those voices sometimes. Still catch my reflection and have to actively choose not to spiral. But the difference is, I know now that I can survive those moments. Because I've survived worse. Because pain taught me I'm stronger than I thought. If you're fighting your own battle right now, with your body, your mind, your place in a world that feels too small for your shape, remember this. The water always holds those who are brave enough to jump. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to look like anyone else's idea of success. You just have to keep moving, one lap at a time, one breath at a time, one day at a time. The finish line isn't where you think it is. It's not at the end of the pool or the top of the podium. It's inside you. The moment you decide you're done apologizing for existing. And once you cross that line, everything else is just distance. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And if you're still sitting at that table near the trash cans, wondering if it gets better, it does. But only if you show up for yourself the way you wish someone had shown up for you. The water is waiting. We'll see you in the next story that weighs heavy, but doesn't have to sink you.